Hello and welcome to Garden Recap 2025, where I introduce you to the flops and successes of this gardening season. So as you can see, we started our seeds indoors and then I slowly conditioned them to outside. We did till our garden and actually expanded the size of our garden this year. This is my husband gathering up some grass clippings, which is what I used as mulch this year, and I also used hay bales later, which I found was pretty helpful too. Here's our big container of our grass clippings. We also put them in the base for our new garden beds. We added 3 of them. Tested out 2 from the TikTok shop, and they're pretty nice too. Here's some seedlings I have, and I did get some store-bought ones too this year because I had some that did not make it and did not sprout. And here you can see our raised garden beds, and we have just planted our plants in them at this point in the season. I'm showing you the hay bales that I also use. These are just really old hay bales we had from when we had dairy cattle. So I'm going to place those. I actually just placed the entire flake down, and that was pretty handy actually, and controlled weeds for a while. I could have done more. These are my lettuce bins, so I threw a flake in each of these as the compost, let's say, for the base. And then I'm going to put a layer of dirt on top of this actually. So here's my layer of soil. And now I'll show you how I planted these bins, and I just dragged a finger through there, got about 1/2 inch down in the soil. I spread these in 2 rows in each container, and actually they performed pretty well. I was pretty pleased with this. They'd be even a good deck garden bin, and I think these bins started their life out as cat litter pans, if I'm not mistaken. Another cat litter repurposing project is the Tidy Cats pails that I have a lot of. So I planted my dill in there this year, and all was well with the dill until I did not remember to do any type of water drainage to this bucket before I planted it. So I had to go back and do that later after I nearly drowned and killed everything. Here are my runner beans that I got from a friend. And these runner beans, I think I'll show you here in a minute. I basically no-tilled them into my soil. I dug a tiny little bit, I planted them in such a far corner of the far edge of my garden that nothing was tilled. So I did it by digging up a little dirt, squishing them in there, slapped the dirt back on, and called it a day, grass included. And here's my layout for my garden this year. And here's those lettuce bins that I'm showing you sprouting. And then here's the garden a little bit later. Now this is towards the beginning-ish of July. And here's those runner beans. They actually sprouted. Some more of my tomatoes around the same time. And here are my sunflower plants that were also gifted to us. These did pretty good. My squash plants, yeah, those didn't make it, not all of them. And then here's my cabbage. These grew like crazy, and so did my broccoli later on too. I have beans and I had peppers in there. These were eggplants and they went like crazy. Oh yeah, there's my pepper plants. And then here's cucumbers along this row. Here's the whole garden. Now this was a little bit later. This is towards the end of July. And this is about when I took my first harvest of that lettuce too. Yeah, so the weeds were fun. I definitely should have done more mulching. Oops. My potato bin went okay. I think we harvested 8 potatoes from it. Oh yes, and here's the pretty runner beans. And I think that those flowers are gorgeous. These are Scarlet runner beans, and as you can see, those flowers were so red. Beautiful. And then yes, we started drowning in those tomato plants. They were humongous. This is me harvesting some cabbage. This is the first year I grew cabbage, and actually I enjoyed it. I would plant this again. And these did pretty well. But I am a sauerkraut lover, so that worked in my advantage. I also had a pretty abundant harvest of zucchinis and summer squash. Cucumbers were good this year too, and I only ended up with 4 plants, and that was enough. I had so many tomatoes this year. So many. Here's the little cabbages after you harvest the first head. Yeah, this was August. My garden's just going crazy. And then, gosh, look at how tall these sunflower plants got. I could not believe how big these heads were. And then, yep, just showing a little bit of my harvest. And now this was more towards end of August time, was around this time. And then maybe even into September here. I had peppers, eggplants were going crazy. I think I probably harvested 30 eggplants this year, and I have also never planted eggplants. It was really nice. Definitely a learning curve on how to cook that. So I canned a lot of it actually. Pumpkins, so we planted pumpkins for the first year too. And eventually I didn't know what to do with my broccoli, so I let it grow. Look at all that eggplant, you guys, and tomatoes. We had a great year of harvest. Hope yours went well. Thanks for watching.